And you also had another good recommendation this week.
Hmm.
The Paul Newman classic Slapshot, which I had somehow never actually heard of before.
uh, it is kind of somewhat obscure. I think the only reason I know about it is because when I, in my teens and maybe early 20s, I was a pretty big hockey fan, and this is like this movie is to hockey what Caddyshack is for golf.
That is a good way of describing it because
Yeah.
so interesting things about the making of this movie. Um, so the original screenplay was written by Nancy Dowd, sister of the Johnstown Jets player or excuse me, Johnstown Jets blech, teammate Ned Dowd, who also appeared in the movie as the character Ogie Oglethorpe.
Oh, okay.
And the three characters who are known as the Hanson brothers were actually also players on that same team.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I remember that they were actual hockey players. Yeah.
Okay, Jack Carlson. Okay, one of the three brothers, Jack Carlson, was unavailable at the time of filming, so he was played by a different Johnstown Jets player.
Okay.
And David Hansen was himself the inspiration for another character in the movie, Dave Killer Carlson. So, so this movie has some apparently has more to do with reality than I was expecting before I did my cursory Wikipedia uh, look here.
Yeah.
So, which makes it seem very. I definitely was struck by the authenticity of it, as
Yeah.
it's. Imagine my surprise that this movie came out the same year as Star Wars and is as filthy as it is.
Yeah.
Also, okay, so maybe this is just me not being as cultured as I could be. Like,
Yeah.
we've seen another Paul Newman movie. In fact, it even had the same director, as I recall.
Yeah.
Uh,
The Sting.
The
Yeah.
Sting. Like Paul Newman's character in that one was a shyster, but he seemed like more of like a gentleman thief almost.
Yeah. Yeah. And this, he's just a.
No, yeah,
No, he's none of that. Yeah.
I think of him as the nice guy on the salad dressing, where they give the profits away to charity.
Yeah.
not this, not this. Well, we'll get into what he is in a minute.
Yeah.
So the story takes place in a fictional town in Pennsylvania. That it's the 1970s. Rust Belt is rusting. 1977. In
Yeah.
stagflation, oil embargo. Times are not good.
Yeah. And yeah, the town mill, which employs most of the people living there, is closing down, and the which means they don't have any money to go to hockey games, and so the Charlestown Chiefs are about ready to fold.
No, not if Paul Newman's character has anything to say about that.
Yeah, yeah. So Newman's character, I'm trying to remember,
Reggie.
Reggie. Yeah, he he basically
He
concocts
he
this
is
whole.
he is an aging player slash coach.
Yes, and his team basically has a team full of misfits for the most part.
Right.
Um,
You
ex-
got the way the movie opens was actually very indicative of the rest of it because they actually do a couple of it's kind of neat. They do a little bit of introduction for people who don't know hockey very well.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
it's French Canadian guy who's just a amusing side character in a TV interview with a local guy. Like, oh, so do you love hockey? Oh yeah, I love the sport. I'm just making up a line here, but
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
you have to follow the rules. If you have your stick up like this, like he keeps like almost whacking the guy with his stick as he's showing slashing and spearing
yeah,
and chopping and the other things you're not supposed to do.
yeah. And he said, "In yeah, you go to the box for 2 minutes, and you will feel shame, and then you get freed."
I would say this movie is so. I shouldn't say famously. I ended up watching Blues Brothers and Animal House as part of this review series, and I liked Blues Brothers pretty well. I didn't really care for Animal House, and I think this movie is cut from very similar cloth, where it's kind of the semi-directionless '70s um, out there comedy.
Yeah, yeah. Very, obviously, like, it was very raunchy, and yeah, just it kind of like it does have an overall plot, but it kind of feels like like a Saturday Night Live thing where it's like it's just one like humorous thing, one skit after another, basically.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, like the overlying plot is it's the season, and you're kind of seeing what Paul Newman's character, like, okay, is he going to get his comeuppance? What's going to happen to the team? So
yeah,
that gives like enough meat to keep the comedic bits going together.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, the basic thing is that he works with this a reporter, this sports writer with the local newspaper to kind of tell him, hey, there's a buyer down in Florida. They're going to buy the team and they're going to move to Florida.
Right, he's trying. So yeah, he basically is doing his best to try and save the team if he can.
Yeah, and the other character in the movie is I guess like the president or the general manager, McGrath, who is played by great character actor Strother Martin. He was he was actually the warden in Cool Hand Luke.
Oh,
Um, yeah, he's the guy who says, "What we got here is failure to communicate." Um, but he so part of the movie is that he arranges the trade that brings the Hanson brothers to the team, and they're just the goofiest guys that you'll ever
yeah.
meet in your life.
Like they show up with their slot cars, and they're playing that and getting tilted when they're oh, this isn't going right. This thing's busted, and he throws it down.
Yeah,
It's very it comes off as very immature.
yeah, and yeah, and Newman's just like, oh God, they're he, I won't say the
What'd you
word.
trade for him? What'd you trade him for? A bag of or a used puck bag?
Yeah, yeah. So and then of course the other character in the movie, who's kind of like he's like the star player on the team, Ned Braden. Um, and he's kind of he's the hot shot goal scorer, and
Also,
who's
kind of the only morally upstanding character in the movie, more or less.
more or less well except for how he treats his wife, which
Or kind of neglects her, but you know,
yeah.
by the standards of everybody else around him.
Yeah. um but yeah, so Newman's character gets the idea that how they're going to start winning games is to just be the biggest bullies in the entire league.
Yeah,
It's
you see, kids in hockey. Gooning has an entirely different meaning than what you see on
yeah,
the internet these days.
yes, yeah,
It just means to be excessively violent, um, and just like So what if you put me in the penalty box? What if you knock me out? That half that guy's teeth are on the ice, so we're good here.
yeah, yeah. So they start all these different fights with all these teams, and that's when then Newman starts playing the Hanson brothers, and then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, so he starts playing these dorks who, man, they seemed like such nice boys, but they just immediately turned to violence at the slightest provocation.
Oh yeah, yeah. I still love the scene when they're before one game, they're just out there doing their warm ups and they skate by them, and then the second time they skate around, he just pow,
Yeah.
just lays this guy out.
Um, but I would say that this is a fine performance from Paul Newman because he is objectively one of the worst characters we have watched in a review in ages. And this is even comparing him to Glenn Powell's character from Hitman, who smothered a man to death with a plastic bag in
Yeah,
cold blood.
yeah,
And yet Paul Newman's character comes off as worse. He's violent. He's stupid. He hates gay people. Like he he chases other men's wives exclusively.
yeah. He sleeps with other men's wives and while he's trying to get back together with his ex-wife.
Yes. Like the man just is the most classless human being I think I've ever seen in fiction, and yet you almost find yourself rooting for him just because he has this weird charisma about him.
Yeah, yeah,
So I don't know what Paul Newman did to be somewhat likable, but he manages it.
yeah, yeah. He had a yeah. He pulled it off very well. And yeah, uh, I think what I love about this movie is it's so quotable too. It's like like much like with Caddyshack and professional golfers. Like professional golfers, they can quote that Caddyshack all the live long day, and professional hockey players and hockey fans, they can do the same thing with this movie. It's just like Dave the Killer. Dave's a mess.
One thing I noticed is that this movie might have been benefiting from being on Netflix. On IMDb's popularity rating, it's number
Yeah.
3,323 at the moment, up 96 slots from whatever time period.
Oh
Which,
well.
considering how many movies have been made over time, that this relatively obscure hockey movie from 1977 is up there is kind of impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how well this movie did when it came out.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Slapshot. Wikipedia. I usually look at the numbers for this, but I've found that with movies this old, the numbers can be suspicious.
Yeah.
Okay, budget is 6 million, box office of 28 million. So it made its budget back, and then probably spent the next 50 years printing little bits of money from. Well, I guess you couldn't show it on TV too often without being heavily edited, but
Oh yeah, yeah. But yeah. I mean, I'm sure it made quite a bit of money off of like video, sales and yeah, like or having it on, you don't have to censor it on HBO or anything, any of
yeah,
those channels. But yeah,
that's true.
um,
In 1998, Maxim named Slapshot the best guy movie of all time. Hmm. I could see that.
yeah, yeah, I could see that too. Yeah.
The film is standard viewing for young ice hockey players on road trips.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, including Christian Hansen, son of David Hansen, one of the three Hansen brothers, who saw the film for the first time when he was 11 years old during a hockey road trip with his team. Oh my God.
I wonder how they all felt when they saw the mom from Christmas Story's boobs.
Oh, was that her? Oh, no. Also, apparently, after the Humboldt Broncos bus crash in 2018, a broken Slapshot DVD was found at the crash site.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. The film was followed by two direct-to-video sequels, Slapshot 2, Breaking the Ice in 2002, and Slapshot 3, The Junior League, 2008.
Ooh.
Paul Newman and the rest of the original cast did not participate in either sequel, with the exception of the Hanson brothers, who had major roles in both.
Ah. Yeah.
I have a feeling those are probably about as good as Caddyshack 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I find that we're mostly talking around the movie rather than about it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think that's because like for this sort of comedy, there isn't really like too much of a story to break down, and we don't want to spoil all of the great moments.
Yeah. Yeah. In particular, the scene in the locker room during during the last game. That's probably my favorite scene in the movie.
Oh yeah, like where he decides, you know what? I'm tired of being a goon. We're gonna play this game nice. You're getting killed out
Yeah.
there. But yeah, another Paul Newman classic. It is recommended for those who don't mind offensive comedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the one limiting factor of it. And like I said, you will, if you're like me, you will be astounded. Like if you filmed this movie exactly the same way today, first off, you get canceled.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But second off, you would be pushing the envelope just as much today as you were in 1977.
Oh yeah. Yeah. pretty pretty amazing how cyclical it ends up being.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah.
Yeah.
So probably our only really strong recommendation of the night.
Yes. Yeah.
So good thing to end off on.
Indeed.